What's up everybody, Ramey here, and today we're talking about our squat wedges. Specifically, we're talking about the generic rubber squat wedges that you see all over Amazon that come in like multi-sizes. You can buy like a 3-in-1 that I have here. They're all these generic brands, they're rubber, and they cost between like $20 and $50. What I want to talk about are these squat wedges, these generic rubber 3-in-1 squat wedges that you find on Amazon, are they worth it? The brand that I specifically have is called 66 Fit. You know, they're one of the top lifting brands that you can buy. No, just kidding. Actually, no one's ever heard of 66 Fit. It's some just generic made up name that is slapped onto these. But you can find these all over Amazon. They all are very similar, all similar angles, all the same, whereas like they come in, there's one size, second size, and third size. So they're basically a 3-in-1. You can step on each of these individually. This is the lowest, highest, or mid angle, and then a high angle. The angles on these vary. I think this was like 12 to 15, this was like 24, something like that, and this is like 30 altogether, or something like that, different angles. The reason that people, so before I even talk about this product and if I think you should buy it and who this is for, I want to talk about why should you even have a squat wedge. Now I'm going to start to get into some videos where I talk about like lifting in general and biomechanics and things like that. That's not what this video is for, but in general the reason people use a squat wedge is because they can't really, they're not flexible to get to depth without some kind of wedge like this to stand on. That's why squat and powerlifting shoes in general have a wedge underneath them. I lift in Vans because A, Vans are cheap. I can wear them outside in other places. They're not like, if you've ever worn powerlifting shoes, they're not something you're gonna wear to like Walmart. But I lift in Vans because they're good for both deadlift and squat, but sometimes it's nice to get that little depth and get a wedge. All right, so that's why people do it. And a lot of the big question you see online is which angle should I get? Which angle should I find? I'm going to talk a little bit about how to figure that out for yourself as I get through this video. So stay tuned and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. But one of the nice things about these 3-in-1 is they come with 3 different angles, so you can kind of play around and get a little feel. And it's kind of cheap if you're not going to use it. You know, you only spend 30 bucks on it. I think I bought this for like $27, so not that big of a deal. All right, so let's talk about these squat wedges. So should you buy these generic rubber squat wedges off Amazon? So the nice thing about it is, as I said, it's 3 different angles. So you get 3 different angles for the price of one. They're much cheaper than like the Rogue or Prime squat wedges that you can buy. However, those squat wedges are nice metal and different, and I'll kind of talk about those differences as we get through this video as well. Other nice things about these are rubber. They're gonna last forever. This is like made out of like, I don't know, like hard, like it smells like a tire. So like, you know, it's gonna outlive you. Like it's indestructible, it's gonna last forever. So that's kind of nice about them. How do these squat wedges feel when they are connected together? Feels just fine, it's fine. That's not really the issue. The issue with these squat wedges, for those considering these, there are 2 main issues with these squat wedges that I want to talk about. And there are people, I think, who should buy these, and I want to talk about that. So these squat wedges, so what's the big problem with these? So the big problem with these squat wedges, the biggest problem is the size. Let me just show you the size of these things. So you can see my shoe. If you smell that, that's my foot. All right. Let's see, let me show you the size. So here is the squat wedge you get off Amazon. These are all these generic ones are roughly the same exact size. Look at that compared to my shoe. My shoe is bigger than the thing. So you can imagine your shoe, my shoe, this is a size 10 shoe. For those of you guys wearing like size 12, 13, 14, it's even gonna be less than this. There's not a lot of leeway here. It's very easy to not step on this thing. My shoe is bigger than the thing. So I mean, you only want to be on it like this anyway, where your toes a little bit on the ground. But you can see there's not a lot of room for error here. My shoe is literally as wide as the thing. So that's the biggest biggest issue with these things. So let me just give you an example here. I'm gonna move this seat out of the way. So you put these on the ground, you set them up at what you think your angle's gonna be. Then, you see, I just kicked it over as I was walking to my squat bar, which I don't even have a squat bar on here. But once you get your squat bar on, you gotta walk back. It is very challenging to actually make sure that you're on this angle because it's so small. So when I first got them, the first day, I almost tripped over on my face as I was squatting. And I was doing lightweight, this was like warm-ups. I almost tripped over my face trying to get on these things. And if you're off by just a little bit, like if you just step a little bit off to the side, you can fall. And that makes these dangerous for people doing heavy squats. Because if I was trying to max or get close to max, like even under 5 reps, which is most of my squatting is 5 reps. And you just step off this a little bit, you're not going to be able to get that balance back. You're going to be off and fall or slip a bit. That can lead to twisting your ankle, can lead to dropping the weight, all kinds of dangerous bad things that you don't want to happen. So my initial thought on these is that for people who are lifting heavy weight, do not buy these for that reason. All right, next issue with these things. Since there's 2 of them, trying to find and since they're small, trying to find the right angle and the right position for them is also a challenge. I spent a while setting these up, trying different formats. I traced it, and then I'd still be wrong. Because because you can move them, because there's 2 of them that you have to use, I literally just kept being annoyed that there were 2 of them. That also leaves that, even if these were bigger, so like, even take like the Prime or Rogue ones that are bigger, because that's the big advantage of the nice expensive ones like the Rogue, they're much bigger. So it's much easier to step on them. But you're still dealing with, there's 2. So you gotta like, there's like this mess up of like which angle, where to put it that you run into. So what I realized really quickly having these is that 2 foot pads for squat wedge really sucks. It doesn't matter how big these things are, just having 2 of them is always gonna suck. So I want to come back to that in 1 second. Now let's actually go to the next thing now. So 2 of these sucks. So what's the solution? So here's what I came up with. My solution, well, let me get to let me get to my solution. So my solution, after using these for a while, grab a piece of wood, put some weight plates underneath it, squat wedge. My feet can stand on, simple, super cheap. All you need is a piece of wood. You can change the angle by using different plates, and super easy to store because you just store the wood wherever you want to. That's it. That's my solution for these. After me buying these, trying them out, that was my solution. Now, I want to kind of get to the how do you figure out what squat wedge angle you should really get, and different options, and who I think these are for, because I do not think these are a terrible product. I just think they're not good for heavy squats. So let's kind of get to all that stuff first. So we'll get there. All right, so first of all, how do you even figure out like what angle you should be? So kind of the alternative to having any squat wedges is using plates. This is what, like, you know, we see pictures of like Arnold and those dudes like standing on plates doing squats. So that's a great option for you. Literally just grab like your 2.5. So, you know, how to figure out what angle, grab your 1 1/4, grab your 2.5 plate, grab your 5 plate, grab your 10 plate, grab your 25 plate, stand on the back and do some reps. See what feels good for you. You're gonna find out really quick if you like it really high or like it low. what feels best for you. That's the cheapest and easiest way to do squats. Now, the reason that people even buy these wedges is because standing on a plate, A, you run into the same problem as you do with the wedges, whereas like you're trying to find, they're small, there's two of them, you know, you run into all those exact problems I just said, but it was free, right? Because you had the plates anyway. The other problem with the plates is that you can feel, it's kind of annoying on the ball of your foot, like the middle of your foot, your plantar fasciitis. The edge of the plate kind of digs in there, which is why I just threw a piece of wood over top of it. Voila, we solved it, it works. But the cool thing about my piece of wood is that I can choose to just use my 1, 2, 5s. I can choose to use 25s. I can choose to use 2.5s. I can choose to use 5s. I can kind of choose to use whatever I want to that day, or if I have different people, it's really easy to adjust. So that's kind of cool. That's one of the reasons I like that. People get really caught up in like, what exact angle? Should I use 15 degrees or 17 degrees? And that's getting really, really, really specific. You know, when Arnold and those guys used to do this, they would grab like a 5-pound plate and put it on their heel. And that was it. They were just like, we're using 5 pounds, it's fine. So I'm kind of in that like, after using wedges for so long, I'm kind of in that mindset of like, dude, grab some 5-pound plates or even 2.5s or 10s, see which one feels better and you're good to go. Maybe throw a board over it if you want it to feel more stable. That's kind of like where I'm at with it. Instead of like paying even more money for like these nice metal ones and stuff like that. A metal one can be worth it if it's adjustable and has grip on it. However, then you gotta store the thing. Storing a piece of wood can store anywhere. And you already have the plates. So, all right, so we've talked about how to like kind of find your angle. Now me personally, so I want to talk a little bit about me, and then I want to talk about who I do think should buy these, because what are they good for? Because they are good, they're not bad. All right, so me. So I started out, when I started out with wedges, I started out using the plates. I was just using plates. Putting my foot in the middle, my plantar fasciitis, the middle part of your foot where it digs into the plate got a little annoying, so that's why I bought these wedges. I bought the wedges, used them, realized really quick after maybe 5 sessions that I was going to kill myself on these and said no more. That's when I got the piece of wood and used it. I was like, oh, this is great. Found the piece of wood, really liked it. Come to find out that any kind of angle on me, because of the way I'm built, really bothers my knees. Because any angle definitely puts more stress on your knees. And it was putting some stress on my knees and causing a little bit of pain, so I kind of dropped the wedge altogether. It was just not one of those things that was going to help me progress anymore. The way I'm built was not made for these wedges. I didn't feel better on them. So, and I was actually feeling a little pain regardless of the angle that I used. So I dropped the wedges. So are these terrible? Should you not buy these? So here's who these are for. So my wife lives with me. Now she cannot squat at all. I did just buy the Squat Max, so she's gonna try that, but she hasn't really used it yet to squat with. But we have her doing goblet squats because that's all she can do. She has numerous back issues and will never be able to squat in her whole, she would never be able to just put the bar on the back of her neck, let alone even squat with it. So we've been doing goblet squats. Now for her, since you're doing a goblet squat is usually not too heavy. You're just picking up a kettlebell, you know, and you can only you're limited by how much you can carry. You're never going to have like a 200-pound kettlebell here. You know, she's using like a 20 when she does her goblet squats. We do high reps with her and like a 20-pound kettlebell. So so I had her try these out. So as soon as so first of all, when you're on a kettlebell, now you still have to adjust them and find where your feet are going to be, so that's still a little bit of a pain. But when you only have a kettlebell, that worry about falling and stuff is not there so much because you're not like walking out with this ton of heavy weight. It's actually really easy with a kettlebell to just put your feet like right on these. And she was able to try out different wedges, and right away with her first few reps, she was like, these feel so much better than regular just goblet squats. The wedge helped her, just felt so right to her. Whereas for me, I never got that, wow, this feels so much better. So it's all about how you're built, as I said. So what we found is that while these sucked for me, and I think these generic Amazon rubber squat wedges suck for you, for most people who are trying to actually squat with them, I think that for like lightweight, physical therapy people, that kind of stuff, balance, goblet squats, they're actually not bad. They're actually pretty, considering they're so cheap, considering they're gonna last forever, they're easy to use, they're simple to store. Like, these are actually great for my wife. In fact, setting up the board like isn't even worth it for her. Like, it's no more advantageous really, other than I gotta set it up, and it's pretty easy to set it up. It's no more advantageous than just pulling these suckers out and using them for her. So we have found a good use for them, so I wouldn't say they're useless. But those are kind of my thoughts on these squat wedges. Those are my overall thoughts. Good for little things like that, but just terrible for squats. I really think, like you at home, my recommendation, start with plates. Just use plates. If you think you need a wedge and you don't want to buy lifting shoes, so I mean the other option is just to buy alternatives, to buy lifting shoes. And if you're going to compete 100%, get nice squat shoes, because you're going to need them in competition and you want to get used to them. So that's the ultimate solution, obviously. But if you're just at home and you feel like I would 100% as you squat, like try wedges, because it might just feel better for you and be better for you for that stretch if you can't get down as far because of the way that you're built. But you know, try different size plates, 1.5, 2.5, 5s, 10s, because they're all different thicknesses. Try them out and see how it feels. And if it feels good, I'd get a piece of wood and just throw it on top of it. If the 5s feel good, get a piece of wood, throw it on top of the 5s, and voila, you got a nice squat wedge. You can even put some skate grip tape on it. You've got a great squat wedge that was super cheap. You can buy that piece of wood easily for $20 at Lowe's. And you got a nice squat wedge. It's going to last forever. You can put some grip tape on it, and you're good to go. I would, however, pass on these rubber Amazon things unless you're like just doing like goblet squats like my wife does. Then I think they're okay. I would pass on all the other ones, like the more expensive, nice squat wedges you can buy too, because I really think just a board is fine for most people. I think if you're going to spend money, just get a nice pair of squat shoes. So those are my thoughts on these. Later, everybody.